Lovely. So I'm here for another episode with Elma Gakenyi, test automation engineer at Smoothwall. Yeah, it's lovely for you to join us. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for me.
No problem. So yeah, I just want to know how's lockdown been for you? Lockdown 2.0, how have you been finding it?
So since March, Smoothwall has let all of his employees work from home,
Okay.
which is kind of great in some ways. But for me, I think it's been quite hard. I'm quite an extroverted person.
Okay.
So I do like to socialize. I do like to see people. I do like to talk to people and just like share knowledge. And whenever you need help, you can just jump at somebody's desk and ask for help. And, you know, a beautiful explanation and visual rather than, you know, now it's just all on Skype. It's all virtual. And yeah, I'm not so much keen on virtual world, no.
Oh, really? Yeah. You're looking forward to jumping back into the office soon then?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, office is probably a better solution. It doesn't have to be necessarily have to be like full-time office based.
Yeah.
But you know, from now and then, I think it's quite important for company values as well.
Yeah.
That feeling of community and belonging, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, just want to say thanks again for joining me. Are we good to go? Can I jump straight into the first question?
Yeah. Go ahead, shoot.
Lovely. So firstly, can you just tell me a bit about you and your journey up to being a test automation engineer at Smoothwall, please?
Right. So my name is Elma Gakenyi, as Jamie has already said. I originally come from Bosnia and Herzegovina, where I've actually studied and graduated for electrical engineering for telecommunications. So yeah, I've always been a bit geeky.
That's cool.
And but yeah, because when I graduated, it was like recession year, and then it just kind of bumped me into the software engineering companies and organizations, and that's where I started with testing. And that was my first actually job in my testing role. And so I've probably been working as a tester around 8 years, I think.
Oh yeah.
Of 7, 8 years, yeah, and that's been quite an experience.
Okay, cool. So as I said before, your current job title is test automation engineer. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
So yeah, what does an average day as a test automation engineer look like?
So, because we work in an agile environment, first thing that we do every single day is jump on a stand-up call. Well, now during the COVID time, it's a stand-up call, but we actually all sat down at the computer. So we just on that call we discussed what are the priorities, which tasks and stories need to get over the line first, and who's working on which task, and if there are any problems or issues to be raised.
Yeah.
And then most of the time I am, my day-to-day job would look like investigating whatever customers have raised, like issues wise, or any problems that they've had trying to reproduce that.
Yeah.
It would probably be me manually testing something and raising some new issues for developers, and we usually use VSTS in my company.
Yeah.
And it would involve me doing automation testing and like probably Googling how to do and how to find solutions. So I'm on Google.
Yeah.
Most of the engineers would agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always interesting. Every single day is different.
Yeah.
Every single day brings so many new things, new stuff, new discoveries, new technology. You always have to be up to date. You always have to keep up with the latest technology that's coming out, and you need learn how to use those. So yeah, it's every day solving puzzles and it's quite interesting. It's never boring.
Cool. So as a test automation engineer, what are you responsible for? Yeah, so what is your actual job, or what are you responsible for?
So I've been working personally on like 2 to 3 different projects.
Okay.
And for each project to get released, I am a quality gatekeeper. So really it has to go first to my hands and get approved to be released and go to customers. And I do have responsibility before something's been released to actually take responsibility of the project and take ownership of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically keeping up with quality assuring quality of the product.
Okay, lovely, lovely. And how long did you say you've been doing testing so far?
So it's been probably 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
Out of those, it's probably been around, I would say, I'm not 100% sure, I haven't been measuring, but around maybe 3 years of automation, automation testing, yeah. So previous to that, I've been a manual tester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the difference then?
So I'd say in previous years, most of the companies would not have resources or time to invest into automation. So that's one of the struggles, well, my personal struggles, because I've always wanted to be an automation engineer.
Yeah.
Because it brings more challenges. It depends on what personality you are and what you really like, but I was always into it. And I like being technical. So I always wanted to do some automation, but never really had a chance. So I used to, in my previous companies, I used to always try to find ways and push for it, but companies just wouldn't have or time or like just resources to invest into it.
Yeah.
Then luckily, you know, at some point, the management team have decided, yes, we're going to invest into automation. That's when I kickstarted, and since then, I think I would always prefer to work in a company that would definitely support automation. And I think it's a great return of investment for any company, because you can really feel the difference. Continuous releases that are quite fast paced.
Yeah.
Then you need something, an automation that's going to like really quickly you know, test something for you, and you can just like relax and press just one button. I always say myself, that's me cloned.
It sounds like you really like automation testing. What's your favorite thing about being an automation tester or testing in general?
So I think it's that kind of like a discovery phase first. It's like, just in general, being a tester, it's like you just want to keep poking and digging inside of something and trying to find issues and trying to find bugs. And it's like, I'm going to find, it's like a challenge almost. Amazing, and brings so many like revelations and like amazing things that you're like, oh my God, you know, look what this does, or look how this works.
Yeah.
I think it's just that excitement and always doing something new. It's never boring. I always explain it as solving puzzles every day. So if you're a person that likes solving puzzles and putting them all together and you're like excited to get them done, that's feel.
Okay. Lovely. Lovely. And then lastly, what made you choose that specific career path as an automation tester?
I think what's really important for anyone when choosing a career path is trying to figure out what is your personality and what makes you, what motivates you, what makes you going, what is your drive, what excites you. And then once you realize that, then it's easy. So like for me, I think what was always a trigger is finding something exciting, finding something new and challenging. I want to be in a challenging environment where I can learn new things, where I can dig out new things, where I can discover new things.
Okay.
And, it does require constant learning and being like very agile in a way, and adopting lots of knowledge and like a fast-paced kind of environment. But it's I find it exciting, and I think that's probably the reason why I chose this career path. Yeah.
Brilliant. Is this what you thought you'd be doing 10 years ago?
So probably not, because I mean, I definitely knew that whatever I choose is going to be geeky. It's going to be discovery oriented. It's going to be fast-paced and technical.
Yeah.
But I first thought, because I graduated electrical engineering for telecommunications, I thought I'd probably be working somewhere like at BT, doing maybe optic cables and infrastructures.
Okay.
Infrastructure, something like this.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. But I don't know, was it a destiny or whatever it was that brought me to this path? And I'm quite grateful, because actually, I think this is more fulfilling, because the reason why, well, on one side, it's really good for getting and finding jobs, and because there's so many opportunities out there for software engineers.
Yeah.
Which is really good and helpful. But then again, yeah, I think it's a future.
Okay.
Yeah, everything is going virtual now, and we need software engineers to come in and help.
Definitely agree. Technology is not going anywhere. It's just becoming more and more a part of our daily lives, isn't it? So I'd definitely say it's a career. If I had to choose again, I'd probably choose a career in IT. Yeah. Another question then. More about in the workplace. So what/who do you feel you represent in the workplace?
So I think sometimes I think of myself, I'm this scary police officer that's on the quality gate, and it's, you know, checking who can what can pass through.
Yeah.
And if it's not good enough, return back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just in general, quality gatekeeper.
Okay.
I think it's quite an interesting and as well very responsible role.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then another question then. How, as a woman in technology, have there been any hurdles or anything that you felt you've had to overcome?
So personally, I think I've always been really well accepted and respected.
Okay.
I've never had any big challenges, but I have noticed in the testing community, there's lots of this kind of like almost like a dog and a cat game in between developers and testers, and testers feeling less worthy for comparing to developers and stuff like this.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, there is a bit of that.
Okay.
And then sometimes you just have to tell yourself, you know, I'm doing a different part of the job, and everyone has different part in this community in way they're contributing.
Yeah.
We're not like competing to each other, we're competing to ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, yeah, I think I've never faced that challenge so much myself. I don't know, so, but it's just from other colleagues that I've noticed that happening.
Oh.
Other than that, I've been fine.
That's cool. That's fine. I'm glad you've been fine. It's not really affected you. But are there any like stereotypes or anything like that that you felt you've had to overcome being in the workplace?
I don't think I have had any challenges. I think I've been really, really lucky when it comes to that, or I haven't. I think I've always been really grateful and lucky to work with amazing people.
Okay, that's great.
I've really worked with some amazing engineers, amazing people who've always accepted me really well.
That's brilliant.
And yeah, I think I worked in such an environment where we all encourage each other, and it's very important, I think.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. That's really good to hear. So if there was somebody like yourself coming from, did you say it was Bosnia-Herzegovina that you came from? Yeah. Or a woman in technology coming up, is there any advice that you'd give to them that you think would help them on their journey? Or not even somebody coming from Bosnia-Herzegovina, but just somebody coming from overseas, or a young woman coming up in technology? Is there any advice that you'd give to them?
Yeah, so for me personally, I think when I first started, the biggest challenge was my language and the way I was speaking, and my English wasn't really good at all. Well, still now it's not that great, but
that's great. Don't say that.
So it's a continuous improvement. like, I think that was really, really challenging to start with, because there are so many different dialects here in across England. And, you know, different places where you go to work, like, for example, when I first went to Manchester to work, it was so hard for me to understand those people talking from Liverpool accent and Manchester accent, and then
Yeah,
like that. So,
that happens to everyone.
people used to like laugh at me and at some of the things, how I used to pronounce it and stuff, like in a nice way,
Yeah.
and it was just like fun for everybody. But I think you just have to stay persistent. I think
Okay.
my advice, and in general for this kind of vocation, and a call to be a software engineer or anything in IT really, just stay persistent, be courageous to even speak out, even if your language is not perfect,
Yeah.
and say your thoughts out loud. Never be afraid to ask questions. I think that's one of the most important qualities, because when you communicate and say it out loud and talk to other people, the more help you'll get,
Yeah.
because people are willing to help you. People will definitely step out and help you if you need help. And I think it's worse to kind of just keep it inside.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so just really keep going, keep walking, keep learning new things.
Yeah.
Don't let that fear, because it's always hard to start. Like the start is the hardest, isn't it? For
Yeah.
anything that you start is really hard to kind of overcome. Just first starting from yourself and from your head onward,
Yeah.
and then yeah, you just have to like conquer your fear and keep going, and
That's brilliant.
it's gonna sort itself out.
I really like that. And I really hope that lands where it needs to, because I feel a lot of people need to hear that. They need to keep going. It's about being persistent, staying on the train, not getting off even when it gets hard, kind of thing. As long as you know you can do it, keep pushing through. So yeah, I really love that.
You know, when you become overwhelmed, and in this kind of job you will become so much overwhelmed, and
Yeah.
you'll start, your brain's going to start like pulping, because it's like, oh my god, how am I gonna achieve all this, how am I gonna make it?
Yeah.
What really helped me is using a list of things, whether it's writing it down, or I sometimes use Trello board
Yeah.
to all my list out, and then set the priorities, and then just set 5 things for that day that I want to do, instead of
Yeah.
overwhelming yourself with there's thousands of things waiting for me to do.
Yeah.
Even if you just set out those 5, and when you complete it, in your brain you'll just trigger that dopamine level that's just going to tell you, oh my god, I've ticked off one thing, and I ticked off another thing, yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah.
And I think that really works out well.
Oh,
Overwhelm yourself, put it down on the list, and take it step by step.
great. Love that. Another great tip. And another thing I want to ask is, you said earlier that you've worked in some really great places that made your moving to England and then progressing your career in IT much easier. So what are some of the good things that they did to help promote a more inclusive culture and help you feel more at home and welcome?
Right, so I think I have to shout out Havas Lynx, that's based in Manchester.
Yeah.
They were just amazing in doing charity work. They were amazing in involving people in all sorts of activities. They just from doing all sorts of like self-development kind of talks to really being and helping out and pushing to another level. I have to shout out Lexis Nexis, that I think they were just amazing in in all sorts of way.
Mm-hmm.
Values that they promoted in their company, the way they promoted those values,
Yeah.
how it just resonated with me, that the way how, you know, you start using these hashtags of values when you like a joke, or when there's somebody, you know, doing something, that you say, oh, hashtag together, or you
Yeah.
know, helped out somebody and they say, thank you, Elma, for your help, and I'll say, well, hashtag together, you know. or stuff like this, or if
Yeah.
there's something fun going on, we do like #fun. So it really ingrained into us, and then we have lots of fun. And I think it's activities that they use, that they do as well, that connect people. So for example, just go inside of the kitchen, and then we had a pool table at that time.
Yeah.
And even just I remember just, you know, even whether it's watching somebody else play or you playing, and having a laugh, and those 5 minutes of laughter just sets you up again to
Yeah.
go back to your workplace and then kick on with work, and you just get motivated again and get driven again.
Yeah.
It gets your brain, refreshes your brain from, you know, like a brain fog or whatever you felt that day whilst working.
Yeah.
I think those kind of things helped out a lot,
All right.
with good things. And like same thing, of course, for Smoothwall. I know we're now in lockdown,
Yeah.
but they've still been really engaging, and we've been doing lots of phone calls, and we call it all hands meetings, where we always catch up with everyone else. And they've been doing lots of charities, like they did 2.6 miles charity to help out all the charities, because everything was cancelled, isn't it, due to COVID.
Oh, that's great.
And I did a TikTok with my daughter. I remember that was so fun. That lasted for 2.6 milliseconds. TikTok, yeah.
Yeah.
To support the charity. So that was so much fun, and you get lots of feedback, and it's just having that laughter, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Oh yeah. Sounds good. Sounds really good. Next thing then, I know, I'm sure you've seen as well, a big focus at the moment for a lot of companies is how to get and retain women in technology. So, is there anything that you'd suggest the companies do for like their hiring processes or their attraction strategies to make themselves more attractive to women, or make technology more attractive to women?
So there's one thing that I highly, highly appreciate at Smoothwall, and that is when I first joined Smoothwall, and I went to the kitchen to make myself a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And once when I took the cup, on the cup you had like a women support, and women, that lady that actually was, you see, it's not on top of my head, her name, that started the women's rights and for vote in Manchester. I've completely lost it now.
The one of the suffragettes.
Yes,
Is
yes,
it?
yes.
And yeah, I know who you
So
mean.
it was, yeah,
Emily
yes, and
Davidson, is it?
I'm not sure now. Anyway, so I was like surprised to see that on the cup, and then
Yeah.
I've seen that we had in the kitchen as well, the screen where it says like some kind of diagnostics in like the workplace, and how people behave towards women, and how they or disrespect them, or their opinion is not taken seriously,
Yeah.
like this. So how we need to encourage and support women, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And I would see that all the time, like in the office, and
Yeah.
I'd be so surprised to see these things. And I was so grateful that I
Yeah.
work in a place that supports women. And like our CEO is just the most amazing person, that when it comes to that, he would tell us stories, and he would tell us like really encouraging things to motivate women
Yeah.
in the place. So I have to say I'm very, very grateful for that. I think it's a great place, and very supportive of women, and I love it.
Brilliant, brilliant. All right. And then lastly, then, I was one more question. I know you shouted out a few of your previous employers, but is there anyone else that you'd like to shout out that's been really inspirational or helpful for you throughout your career or journey?
I think probably the biggest support comes from my friends, not
Okay.
any company.
Okay.
So I think having that a nice community feeling and support of your friends and the closest ones is very important as well.
All right. Lovely. Well, yeah. That was my last question. Thank you so much, Elma. It's been great speaking to you. Loved hearing about you and your career so far. But yeah, best of luck in the future. And thanks again.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Lovely speaking to you, and have a lovely day. And I hope this COVID time finishes very soon and vaccine comes out and we're free again.